Okay, we're live.
On.
Hello, my dear.
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Busy, 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 running around from meeting to meeting, but I'm here and I'm so excited to see your beautiful face.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to see yours too and to talk to you about all things Cathy Savage Fitness and the empire you have built over the last how many years?
Oh, Lord. Probably almost 30 years, believe it or
Wow.
not, from the infancy. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
old.
wow. Well, you don't look it, so good for you. You're doing something right.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, why don't you, let's just start by you telling us a little bit about how Cathy Savage Fitness was born. Where did it all begin?
Oh my goodness. Well, just like so many people, I loved going to the gym and loved working out and just became part of the gym community in the late 80s, Amber. And a lot of my friends were doing bodybuilding shows and I wanted to do one. And I didn't really have the body for that, but I was an aerobics instructor. I had danced all my life, and suddenly this beautiful sport called competitive fitness started. Now it's a lot different than it is now, but it was just all the fitness routines and the swimsuit, and I said, geez, I could do that. So I entered, didn't know what the heck I was doing, and entered, loved it, and started meeting people who wanted my help. And just having that business background, I said, you know what, there's a little niche here. There's a need for coaches. There were no coaches, there were no teams, and I said, you know what, I'm going to start training people for these events. And that's how it began. It was really literally just one of these things that evolved as I went along. There was no big master plan. It just kind of evolved through my experience in the infancy of the sport.
That's great. And I think a lot of folks, a lot of entrepreneurs kind of start out that way, right? They have a passion about something and there's a niche that needs to be filled, and then they just kind of go for it. So tell me a little bit about comparing then to now, what that looks like in your world and how Cathy Savage Fitness has evolved over that time.
Oh my goodness, it just pales in comparison. When I competed, when the sport was new, you'd get your swimsuit the day before. You would diet like a bodybuilder. You would just do everything pretty much on your own. What it's evolved to now, thanks to more media, thanks to more of a saturation of the industry, is something that most people at least know what it is. So there's some identifiability there, whereas when I did it, no one even knew what the heck it was. And so now it's just more popular now than it was. It's become its own sport. It originated from bodybuilding, but now it's really much different than bodybuilding. And just the preparation to do it is different. Just more educated people in the industry. It's really more of an entertainment package now as opposed to a bodybuilding package, which I love. I love that.
Absolutely. And your brand, what would you say are sort of your core values around your brand?
Oh gosh, they're pretty clear. Integrity, fresh face, wholesome, girl next door, just more of the mind, body, and soul experience, and not just the obvious physical experience. And that's really what I want to do with my clients. I want them to have an experience of not just the physical nature. I want it to be a well-rounded brand, and I think I've done pretty well with that. People pretty much know what my brand is.
Absolutely. And so in terms of getting clients for your brand, obviously that probably looked a little bit different at the beginning or over the course of the last, maybe at the beginning of the business, the first 10 years to now. What kind of evolution has your brand gone through in terms of getting clients, retaining them, getting them to be part of the sisterhood?
That's a great question. What happened with me, I was really lucky. I'm just going to say it. I was real lucky to have television exposure. And I was also really lucky to have some really great clients with multiple talent. And when they won big titles, people would come to me. They'd want to come and work with me. It didn't matter where they lived. So when I first started, it was more local. It was more organic. But when we would go to these national shows, we would meet people from other parts of the country. And so they would want to come, and they would, stay at my house sometimes, which I can't even believe I did that. But they would come for a weekend. And so it's really evolved. It was very local. television exposure, national titles, created more of a globalization of the company. And then, of course, what I did was I took it all online. I was the first online program for this sport, and that was just because I couldn't control how I could contact people. So again, made it up as I went along, created an online program so that I could reach everybody. So that's been wonderful as far as attracting new clients, and as well as just kind of getting my message to a bigger mass, for sure.
That's great. That kind of goes into one of the questions I was going to ask about the evolution of your brand around technology. And certainly you're a worldwide brand. You're not just in the United States. You're not just in Canada. You're worldwide. So what would your advice be to other entrepreneurs looking to grow their brand with the resources that are available today, just like what we're doing right now through technology? What would some advice be for folks trying to grow their businesses be from you?
Yeah, and I think that's true of any business. My advice would be, number one, to really have a strong message, a strong brand, a strong value, whatever it is, and be different. Be so different and unique that you stand out. And, you know, just technological evolutions have given us the power to reach more people. However, it can also saturate a market. And so in order to do that, you've got to really stand out and be different. But be a student. Learn social media. Learn Excel spreadsheets, learn and keep up. We're always learning as entrepreneurs, and it seems like you have to, you know, keep up every minute. I'm 50 years old, and I always tell people when I was in college, you know, the computers look like furnaces. You know, there was no such thing as a laptop, and so you have to really stay on top of things. You can never kind of believe your own hype and think that you know it all. You have to constantly be learning as an entrepreneur and really make sure that your message is different than the next guy, and then you'll stand out.
That's great advice, absolutely, especially since you've been in business for 30 years and the changes have been so dramatic. So, and you've been able to stay at the top of the market in fitness. So let's talk a little bit about the differentiation aspect of things and how you've been able to kind of evolve your brand to include different things that have fit in line with your values to help folks with their businesses, help yourself with your business. What have been some things you've tried to do over the years?
To further my brand, you mean, or to?
Yeah, further your brand, and then and evolve your business model further than just basic, you know, fitness competition.
Yeah, we've expanded our brand into different industries and channels. One thing that I've always wanted to do was to help women on a financial or career-based level, and that's something I was never able to do. I always would, you know, people would come to me for nutrition and training advice, and then I'd end up asking them, why are you in this dead-end job, and why can't you afford your mortgage? Why are you still renting an apartment? You know, I would always find myself doing that, and that was something I wanted to really do with my brand, is really to help people with their careers and with their financial advice. So our brand has really gone further than just training and nutrition. They get a lot of advice on how to market themselves, to get into a magazine, or we teach them how to stay on, you know, with a good brand, not a brand that's going to tarnish them for their own brand, because everybody needs a brand, everybody needs a value. So our initial point of just doing nutrition and training has really changed to just more of a well-rounded mind, body, spirit of every single woman long after they compete. We want them to be good. We want them to be okay with themselves so that they can have better relationships and have better jobs, and then just aligning myself with other products, which I've never done before. That would be the big thing. Aligning myself with a product that matched my brand, that's just part of my business, and that's been wonderful as far as a business venture. Every entrepreneur needs to align themselves with other affiliates or products. If you don't do that, you're going to stagnate, and that's been instrumental with us.
I think that's great advice, and I think, you know, around with brand love coaching and what I'm doing here, I'm all about authenticity and following your truth and being in touch with that with whatever it is that you're creating in your business. And so I think that's really powerful that you've been able to do that. And I think just being a former Savage girl myself, that, you know, that's one of the reasons why I was part of your team, and I was able to really, you know, go through that transformation myself. So thank you for all of that. I remember many conversations together, and being
And I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. It's so wonderful for me to see you do this, because it was the same thing. You know, you knew you had that passion, and sometimes we're so afraid to just explore. And this is you exploring your passion. And when you do that, you can never fail, ever.
That's
ever.
right.
You gotta make sure that passion is legit, which yours is, and that's really the goal, to just be successful, is to really live your passion.
Great words of advice. So tell me about, I always love to ask people what their favorite brands are. Do you have a couple of brands that are just your favorites out there in the marketplace?
Well, of course, mine.
Right, obviously.
You know, I love two. Two come to mind. First is Disney, because they're storytellers. And I read a lot about Disney, the business of Disney, and really, you know, people think, oh, theme park. No, they're storytellers in everything they do, and they do it brilliantly. I wish more companies would look to Disney as a model, because we are really telling a story when we have a business, aren't we? And then, of course, Isagenix, who is the products that I work with, they are all about solutions to transform lives. So their brand is very distinct. It's set apart from other supplement companies. And those two probably stand out to me. I align myself more with them because they both actually have the storytelling experience. And I kind of like to do that too. I like to tell the stories of all my beautiful clients and what they've done with their lives. And so I'd say those two are my favorite.
Yeah, I think your brand is all about, it's not a quick fix with folks. It's about the whole person and making significant change and recognizing that, you know, it's not about just doing a fitness competition. Because when that day ends, you have the rest of your life to live, and so that's really valuable.
Yeah, it's everything. If people think it's all about the show, it's the journey to the show, and it's the journey after, and it's just setting that one goal is going to enhance every aspect of your life. And I see it with you and Lori Harder and all these wonderful people who are so successful now, who started with just a goal of wanting to get into shape. But what that goal did was enhance every other aspect of their lives, and that is a legacy, and that's what I'm most proud of.
Yeah, and it's really hard to explain that until you've really experienced it, but it's absolutely the truth. And you know, currently I'm not training with Savage, but I will carry all of those values with me for the rest of time, and
that's wonderful.
And, you know, share them with my daughter, and I drink my Isagenix shake every morning too. So here's to that. So could you recommend a book? You just mentioned a Disney readings. Do you have a particular title right now that you're really excited about that you want to share with our listeners today?
Yeah, you know, one book I think all entrepreneurs should read, because it really is a game changer for many people, is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Everybody, you know, I know everybody has heard of that book. It's a wonderful book. But one book that I love is Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. I know that's so 80s, but I learned a lot when I was at Boston College reading that book. And some of those principles by Donald Trump still ring true today. That integrity, that tell it like it is. And you need that. You need that edge as an entrepreneur. And I think he teaches that brilliantly. So those are the two books that I always tell people to read. And people look at me sometimes like, Donald Trump, Art of the Deal? But check it out. It's a great book.
Great advice. So you just mentioned that little edge. Talk to me a little bit about that for helping some of our entrepreneurs that are nervous about, you know, dealing with clients, maybe having to say no to people, finding that balance of being their true self and being that kind-hearted person, but then also recognizing that, you know, they don't want to be taken advantage of. What would be some advice there?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You know, if you stand in your truth, be it in a relationship or especially in business, and I've learned this to be probably the key to my success, is when you stand in your truth of what you know, your expertise, and then your boundaries, if you will. When you stand in what you believe, when you know your value, you will never go wrong. You may lose a client, but you're going to gain two more that share your beliefs, because you got to work with people, and sometimes not every client should be yours, and that's hard when you're trying to start your own business. I learned that way when I first started out. I wanted everybody as a client, and I think that's the normal thing to do. And you do kind of, you know, lose yourself sometimes in your clients, but you really have to keep people at arm's length and remember that it's a business. And that's really hard to do when you're starting out, for sure. But if you really stand in your truth about what you believe in and have that unshakable belief, you're going to be able to overcome the objections that happen with every business. And I always say to people that when you're starting your own business, be prepared to hear a lot of no's. And it's okay if you hear a lot of no's, because you only need a few yeses to get you to springboard into an empire. So don't sweat the small stuff. Just really know that some clients should not be yours, and be okay with that.
And part of the entrepreneur's journey, I think, is just going through that process and dealing with it and having that high maintenance client, and then on the other side of it realizing, okay, I have to have the courage to say no sometimes, even if that means that I'm not going to get, that buck right away, but what's more valuable, and learning how to differentiate between the two.
You just knocked it out of the park. It's so true, because if you are an entrepreneur, you want to look at longevity, and not some people just are going to just suck the life right out of you if you work with them. And Lord knows I've had that. And sometimes it's better when they go, because it opens up the door for great clients and great opportunities that you didn't even know existed, because you were so wrapped up in trying to please those people. So when entrepreneurs are pleasers, and I'm a pleaser, I was brought up that way, we tend to get into that realm of wanting to please everybody. But it's a business, and you've got to know that there's some people that you just shouldn't work with, and that's hard, especially when you're trying to make money. It's a good lesson. Yeah. Absolutely,
especially at the beginning in the lean years, right? And you certainly lived those, being in a business for 30 years, but you've stood the test of time, so kudos.
Thank you. I remember those days. I learned a lot.
Yeah. I'm sure you were giving advice about what, proper nutrition, and you're like eating ramen on the evening.
Yeah, I remember doing a lot of things for free. That's what I remember. And just to create that brand. And I think that's a good thing. Pro bono work, when you're new, you got to do it. You got to build a base, and that's what I did. And it's the best thing I ever did. A lot of entrepreneurs don't want to do that, though. But they've got to think longevity, and they've got to say, I got to establish myself as an expert before I start, springboarding into a business. And the best way to do that is to offer services for free. And that's what I did for probably a good 2 years, and that kind of got me on the map.
That's good advice, because you get a lot of hands-on learning that way too.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
So what is your guiding force, Cathy? I think I know the answer to this one, but what keeps you going, in the more challenging times?
Oh my gosh, that's just, you know that. Again, that just holds true to my brand. People know me. They know everything about me. But my family is my number one. I had a really good life before I had children, but my life began when they were born. And my husband, my family, my mom, my dad, who I lost in October, instilled in me that family is the centerpiece of everything. And once you're centered and grounded that way, there's nothing that can get in your way. There's no wall that you can't plow through, go forward, or climb under. It's just when your family is at the core, it's centerpiece of everything, it all makes sense. And some people don't have that, and when you don't have that, you can have that friendship, you can have those people in your lives that you do share common traits with. So it saddens me when people don't have that strong family base, but if you don't, you can have faith, you can have an organization that you belong to, but you've got to be grounded in business, and for me, my family is definitely that, for sure.
I certainly can relate in that with the birth of my daughter, it gave me the courage to leave my 10-year career, 9 to 5. This is my first official full week being an entrepreneur on my own. So special that we're doing this today, because you were part of my journey in getting here. I remember sitting in your office having that chat, and before I had Ani. So yeah, I'm definitely a yay moment.
Yeah, that makes me feel wonderful. That's so great. You don't want to miss those days, I mean, just having that time freedom and financial freedom as an entrepreneur, you just can't go get those days back. You know that. And
we just were at the park for lunch, so that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. I mean, some people, everyone's different, and everyone has that choice of what they want to do. But how wonderful is it that you're going to be there for all those milestones?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll put in a little plug there, because both you and I are on a track to try to help people achieve that. Because that's what your lifestyle is, that's what mine is now. We're both helping entrepreneurs and folks who want to have a business of their own where they can kind of call their own hours and pursue their passions. So between Cathy and I, those of you that are tuned in today, you have a wealth of support here from either of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we had some questions of some folks that are watching as we speak, and these are a little more specific around the fitness world and realm, but I'm just going to fire those at you.
Okay.
We have one from Kelly Nickel, and so she said, if we're not necessarily wanting to compete but have interest in magazine modeling, is that possible to do if you're not a competitor, and what steps need to be taken?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Competing in fitness is a fast track to get into modeling and choosing the right show and choosing to be in the right place at the right time. That's why we use shows. We really strategically pick shows for people who want to be in magazines because it's so much easier to get noticed that way. It's also easier for me to submit pictures when you have a title. It doesn't have to be a big title, but it's a fast track, but it's certainly not the only track. Getting really good pictures, not photoshopped pictures, just great pictures, and working with people like myself who have the network to get in. You know how it is. It's all about your network. And if you're special enough, sending your pictures into the magazines, you don't even need me for that. You can do it yourself, and just stay focused and hard line, just like you would a passion for business. If your business is to get into magazines, you got to really be aggressive and send your pictures in and be assertive, just like you're going for a job interview. So yeah, you do not need to compete to be in magazines, for sure.
That's good advice, and certainly, matching up the brand of the magazine with what you're trying to go for, because there's certainly a plethora of opportunities out there, but trying to figure out which one's going to be most in line with your core values is also really important.
Brilliant. Indeed.
All right, the other one is from Shannon, and Koziak is her last name, and she said, I'm very interested in joining Cathy Savage Fitness, great, and embarking on a new journey of competitive fitness. As a novice, would you recommend signing up online and trying competition this fall or winter, or waiting to attend a Camp Savage and register for competitions throughout 2015?
It's really up to the individual, but our online program is so dynamic that it's like you're right there. You don't really need, that's why I created it, and with technology, it's even better through Skyping and videos. My most successful clients ever don't even live near me. So, we see each other at the shows, but we can get anybody into shape through check-ins, by video check-ins, pictures. I always say, if you've got a passion to do this, don't wait, don't put it off. Just go for it. Most of my clients, like I said, do not live around here. So we train everybody just through virtual online programs that are just so wonderful. They're so complete. So no, you can just go for it. Stop waiting, just go.
I think that's a really great sentiment to kind of branch into my next question around entrepreneurs. And you hear all the time, start before you're ready. And I think that could really apply to really anything to a certain degree if you have the passion and at least some of the knowledge base to do it. So what about folks, Cathy, who are here today interested in wanting to start a business in the health and fitness industry to some degree, whether they're a wellness coach or something along those lines? What advice would you give to those folks?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I get that a lot. My biggest piece of advice would be to establish yourself as an expert somehow. Somehow, even if it's in your gym or in your community, go to your local paper and say, hey, can I do a Wellness Wednesday? I'll write you a little article for free with some tips. And like I said at the beginning, you got to do some things for free to establish yourself as an expert, especially in a market that's so saturated. Healthcare and wellness is the industry to be in. So how do you stand out? And you've got to kind of create yourself a brand that establishes you as an expert. And how do we do that when we have no experience? You really got to write your blogs. You've got to be present and consistent on social media. And you've got to offer something that's different and unique. And I think people all too often try to look at someone who's successful and do what they do, and that's the worst thing you can do. It helps the person you're trying to be like, but establish yourself as offering something different. And that's what I did. I created a team atmosphere in an otherwise individual sport, so that was different. I really talked a lot about all natural, prep where there was no deprivation. That was different. So you have to kind of establish yourself as an expert, and whatever field it is, you've got to take it from a different perspective. And usually that comes from you. You're something that's unique about you. We're all unique. So bring out what makes you unique, and don't worry about anybody else. Make yourself unique enough for people to be attracted to you, no matter what the industry is. But really offering your advice through blogs, through newspapers, in your local community, cable channels, that's the way to start in this day and age. There's no reason why you can't be successful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think with all the free resources that are available out there now, you could get a blog tomorrow, and it's not going to cost you a dime, and you can start putting out your expert knowledge out there. But I love what you said about being uniquely you, and that's exactly what I tell my clients too. And we have folks in a lot of different industries that I'm working with right now, one comes to mind, a wellness coach herself, and just reassuring her and her confidence in that she is so unique in how she approaches things with her clients. And, just our work together, I think that's one of the beautiful things about your brand is you help empower the people that are part of your organization to step into their truth and to find whatever that power happens to be. Sometimes they don't even know it yet, but through this experience, they find it.
It's so true. I look at Lori Harder, who was just this quiet little meek girl that I worked with, and now she is her own empire. She's doing Bliss Project retreats for women. I love seeing that because she is the complete opposite of me, Amber. She is so, we're completely different. I love to get, tough love, and she's different. And I love that she started with me, and now she knows that she didn't want to do what I do, but she took something that she believed in, and now it's an empire. And it's different, and it's all her. It's not a sloppy second of somebody else. It's her, and that's why she is a success, because she trusted who she was and trusted the voice that she was able to give to other people. And now look at her. I mean, she's doing so well. People need to just trust who they are and have that unshakable belief that they can be something unique and special in any industry. So that self-confidence and that empowerment is going to get you further than you think. It's really just one of the tools in your arsenal for success. You got to have it.
Yeah, and I love Lori, and I love her story, and I kind of was part of your organization at the time when she was really taking off, and just watching her is really inspiring, and I aspire to do some of the things that she does, and just being so incredibly authentic, and she's the sweetest person, and awesome. Yeah. So what advice would you have for those that are here today that are, stuck in that 9-to-5 that makes them, they're just dreading Monday and they're wildly unhappy, but they do have their passion project on the side and they're trying to figure out how they navigate that when they're in that space? What advice do you give those folks?
My advice is to act now, truly, and because even if it's a side passion project, in this day and age, in our economy, it is so scary because you're literally relying on someone else for your income. I truly wish everyone would be an entrepreneur, be it part-time or full-time, because even an extra $500 or $1,000 a month could change somebody's life. So I always say to people, do you want to live in a cubicle? Do you want to ask for vacation time off? That's not life, that's a grind. And sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you. Even if you love your job, create a way to make money off of your passion. I always say to people, make your life, for me in the wellness industry, make your lifestyle your livelihood. Find a way, find a product, find something about you that you can offer your advice to create an income, a residual income, if you will. And maybe that passion could turn into an empire, because mine was part-time. Mine was part-time for a long time. And then, I quit my day job, if you will, when it became more successful. So never be afraid to take something that you love and find a way to help others, because when you help others, when you're on that mission to serve others, you'll never go wrong. And always remember that authenticity will win the race. So you're going to go through those ups and downs through, wanting to do it, taking a risk, but every single successful company took a risk at one point, And it all goes back again to that empowerment, that self-belief, that unshakable belief that your passion is meant to serve others. And when you find that connection, that's your empire right there. Because that happened to me and so many people that I know. So take the risk.
I'm fired up. I don't know about you, Kath, but your Mama Savageisms are just coming left and right here. I've been writing them down as we're talking.
Just coming right out of my mouth.
Fantastic. I guess just because I know we have a lot of people on here that are also, the curious folk that haven't stepped into the fitness world yet, and they're tempted and they're a little bit nervous. What do you have to say to those ladies that are listening today, that have dreamt about it, thought about it, and are now here listening to you today? What would you say to them directly?
Well, it's like having a baby. You never think you're ready. No one ever comes to me and says, "I'm so ready to get on stage." Every single person asks, "Do you think I'm ready? Do you think I'm ready?" And again, what's the worst thing that can happen? You go to work on Monday and no one even knows what you did, and the worst thing that happens to you is you get into incredible shape. Stage fright, getting out of the box, getting out of your comfort zone is the recipe for success. So, there's never a bad time to do a show. We have people who, they don't look the best on stage, but they have a journey of completion, of accomplishment. So it's not about having the best body. It's about you celebrating your hard work in the gym. And that's what most people start out with. They just want a goal. You don't have to win. You don't have to be perfect. But it's all about taking a risk and going for it and not staying safe in that little box for whatever it is, be it a fitness show or going for that dream job. We've just got to get out of our comfort zones. And the difference between successful people in fitness shows and business are people who are willing to live outside their comfort zone. So that's what I say, just do it. Do it.
That's fantastic. And I think the other thing that, is impossible to describe until you experience it is the friendships that you gain through the experience, the bonds that you make. Some of my closest friends are Savage girls, and I mean, I have a wedding save the date on my fridge for one right now, and I can't wait for that special day for Jen and Chris, and that is the most powerful thing. And I think the power that those women give to you and we give to each other throughout the journey. Your coach is one thing, and you, Cathy, are fantastic, and you help us along the way, but it's also watching these other women grow and you supporting them and them supporting you too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a team. And so even if you don't win, but the girl next to you who's been preparing with you wins, you're part of that win. So you're going to celebrate somebody's victory if it's not yours. And that's why I created the team. There were no teams when I started. I wanted it to be more than just when I did a fitness show, I got a trophy and then I went home and I said, this stinks. There's got to be something more to this. And being a team, being an athlete, that's why I created a team, because I wanted it to be more than just showing up, getting on stage for 2 minutes and then going home. And well, Amber, it's not that. It's about friendships and goal setting and love and blood and sweat and tears. And people will say to me, I never felt more alive than when I was getting ready for a show. And I so can see that. But you have people there. You're not alone. So if that goal is for you, just know that there are people just like you that are questioning, I wonder if I can do this. I wonder. And most of your friends who aren't in the fitness world, they have no idea what you're talking about. This is a group of people, of sisters, that know when you have those fat days and know when you are going through this. When other people who aren't in fitness, they don't get it. So it's a safe environment where you can just have any goal you want, and you're going to get that unconditional support, just like a sister.
I think there are two parts to it, too. Then people in your life are like, wait, what are you doing? And they're really intrigued and interested, and suddenly you're like this celebrity in your friend group because they want to know about all the things you're doing, and then they start telling you about all the carbs they've had for the last week and all that stuff, too. Yeah. But I think there's that. And then the other side, too, is that you leave with skills now and an understanding and an ability to navigate your life in a different way. Whether you're an athlete, these folks who maybe weren't an athlete. I remember watching some girls that could barely do some of the exercises, and then by the time they were going to do a show, they were like rock stars. And so talk about empowerment.
Oh, that's the thing. Like I said, it's not the show and it's not training and nutrition. It's goals. Goals that are met through hard work and determination and dedicating yourself to a goal. And there's nothing better than achieving a goal. Really. I mean, it just transcends into other aspects of your life like nothing else. And I think everyone should play a sport at one time in their life. You know that. Because what it does for you, it teaches you such life lessons that you need later in life. When people have never played a sport, they don't get it as fast as athletes do because they understand the power behind setting a goal and achieving it.
And I think the mind-body connection, too, is so huge in terms, you know, and I say that to my clients when they're feeling stuck or trying to come up with inspiration around something. It's like, go running, go for a walk, go outside, move your body because that will generate, you know, brain power.
Oh, absolutely. We get stuck. We're like hamsters in a wheel, you know. Nothing good happens. Nothing good happens when you're a hamster in a wheel. You got to get out. You got to move. You got to detox from all the things around you, and then you'll find clarity. That's the only way.
Well, just in talking, it's coming to mind that I have a half choreographed fitness routine because I got pregnant in the midst of my.
Right.
So I just went on the record saying that, but you know, we'll see how that all kind of unfolds. But I have an 8-month-old, so
I love it.
Just what's her last name? Halbert. Sorry. Hello. Just did a fitness routine with her 7.5-month-old little boy. So amazing.
Yeah. What a great way to get back into shape, right?
Absolutely amazing. Well, I think, let me see if we have any other questions. I think that rounds out the brave folks that were willing to post a question. But this has been incredibly powerful. Do you have any other sort of parting words of wisdom you want to share with our entrepreneurs, our folks that are listening today?
Well, you know, I work with men and women, but, you know, of course I work more with women. And I think one of my biggest pieces of advice is to be independent and to stand on your own through life, regardless of whether you have a great husband or not. I want to teach women the art of entrepreneurship, and I love what you're doing because I think you're doing that so brilliantly. And through finding your passion and making it your livelihood is something every woman needs to do. I just don't want any woman I know relying on anybody, for their power. And I think women we're the best managers in the world. Look what we do. We manage children, we manage schedules, and take that and put it into something that you can earn an income from, because that is truly power. And this is the time for entrepreneurs. You know, when economies are a little shaky, it's the rise of entrepreneurship that changes our economy, that changes our country. So why not you? Why not every woman that we know try to come up with something unique and powerful that they can share with the world? I believe in entrepreneurship. I wish more people would take that risk. I hate to see people controlled in a cubicle, because that's not life. And I surely want to speak to the women out there who are going to work and don't want to go to work. You know, really think about your life, because those hours you can't get back, like you and I said. And take that risk and find your passion and find someone that can help you with it. Find someone that you can mentor with and grow with. And before you know it, you might have your own little home business. And I wish that for every mom who doesn't want to go back to work. So take the risk.
There are so many folks out there that can help, and I think it's having the courage to ask for help and to say, you know, we both love Mel Robbins, and she's just outstanding, and she always talks about, you know, your dream, and to say it out loud, it should be embarrassing. So when you tell someone, oh my God, I'm doing a fitness show, they're like, what? You know, it's a little embarrassing to say you want to do something huge like that, but that's when you know that it's powerful and that it's the right thing to do.
Oh yeah, it's being alive. It's not being safe. You know, you're not going to get anywhere safe. You know, you're just not. You're going to be very complacent. Live out loud and just chase those dreams before somebody else does, because you don't want to live your life in regret. And there's nothing worse than that. So go for it, become an entrepreneur, and I am 100% behind any woman who wants to do that.
Beautiful. So if these folks are here today, want to reach out to you, become a Savage Girl, what do they need to do, Kath?
Well, my website is www.cathysavage.com. Cathy is with a C. And you can click Contact Us, and I'd be more than happy to share all the wonderful products and programs we have. We have so many, but we have things that will fit anybody, no matter who they are. And just, look at all the beautiful pictures and testimonials on my website, and let us help you find your inner sass and start you on your journey to the stage. So CathySavage.com is first place, and you can talk to me live right there.
Beautiful. And I know you're on Twitter at Cathy Savage, and then Cathy Savage Fitness is also on Facebook. So you can get connected and see kind of what's going on in real time. There was a big show this weekend. You can check out the information from that as well. And Cathy, this is such an honor to have you here today. So grateful for so many things. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with you and share this wisdom with the folks that are here today. And for those of you that are interested in learning more about brand love, my website is brandlovecoach.com. And if you are interested in talking about your idea that you're afraid to share with the world, just hit the website and schedule a free brand review, and I'll be there to help. So this is Cathy Savage from Cathy Savage Fitness. Thank you.
You're welcome, Amber. Good luck. Brand Love Coach. Love it.
Woohoo! All right. Thank you, folks. Take care.